Good morning. Welcome to the Aired Out Podcast. Seen and heard live from North Main Street in beautiful Barrie, Vermont, where the sun is not shining this morning. We've got some clouds, maybe some more weather here coming in over the next day or so. Just realized that I haven't taken my Halloween decorations out of the window yet. It has been a couple of busy days. Mondambi wins New York City, probably the biggest headline this morning. It's huge. It's huge. Here, locally, we have my understanding is a couple of days to make sure that everything is counted and everything is accurate before we reveal results in some local decisions, mainly the bond voting on Seminary Street right here in the Granite City, as well as the proposal for the new Central Vermont Career Center. With us on the line every Wednesday is Deb Phillips from the World newspaper. Good morning, Deb. How are you?
Good morning, JD. Doing great.
Pleasure to have you on. What are we looking at in today's world? I know there's a lot of discussions these days about local politics and some big decisions made.
Yeah, well, we won't have much focus on that, but we will have
That's good.
we have the Veterans Day salute to veterans that also has information about a parade and open houses. We have the congratulations page for the U32 boys cross country team, won their state championship, and they for 10 years in a row. And also included on that page is a U32 freshman, Bubba Chamberlain. He got the medalist in golf.
Wow.
And yep. So we also have the money saving coupons, which this time of year is really helpful because it's for oil changes and for tire changeovers. Pool and Auto's doing something really special this year. You can get an oil change for $29.99 if you bring in a food donation for the Vermont Food Bank.
That's fantastic. We've had the Vermont Food Bank on the air over the last couple of days. A lot to talk about in that department for sure. But thanks, thank you so much, Deb. I always look forward to getting it, and I know it's coming today. Chris will bring it.
Yep, they're getting them right now and starting to distribute them.
Thank you so much, Deb. We appreciate you. Always a safe bet to advertise with the World, vt-world.com. Get in touch with them, 479, what is it, 2582 over there, right, Deb?
That's right, JD.
All right. Sales at vt-world.com if you want to send them an email. What's the deadline, Deb, if you want to post anything in there?
Thursdays.
Get it done.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Say hello to Gary.
Will do. Thanks, JD.
All right, Deb. We'll talk to you soon. Yep. Deb Phillips with The World on the phone with us, joins us every single Wednesday. We appreciate their partnerships so much and their collaboration, of course, with the Times Argus. Some very, very, very busy people. Listen, there is so much chatter about politics right now. There is so much going on. The temperature is very high nationally. Take a deep breath today, okay? Just take a deep breath. We'll post up what we know. We'll post up what we have. And we will post up and discuss what we find out when we find out. Local decisions. Hey, just getting a note here. River and Center Street is closed between George Street and Frattini Place. They've got some traffic detours set up this morning, so please obey the signage and be careful if there's anyone that's part of the crew that's working in that area. All right, River and Center Street here in the Granite City between George Street and Frattini Place is closed this morning. Every single Wednesday for the last, I don't even know how long, we have been featuring Sweethearts and Heroes on the air. And it has been with such great pleasure. They have brought some of the most profound and insightful and positive content ever to my program. And it is with great pleasure that Winton Buddington is with us this morning. Winton, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Morning, JD. I'm great today. It's a beautiful day.
Man, Josiah was not able to make it kind of the last minute. You're the pinch hitter this morning. Look at that shirt. I wonder if I'll ever get a chance to see a shirt like that up close and personal.
I hope so. I gotta get there and have a chance to sit on your couch and see you in person someday.
Yeah, man. That's right. I haven't met you yet, have I?
No, just
right.
Virtually.
Well, you're a few hours away, Rochester, New York, to be exact, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Man, what's going on? Are things are things red hot over there in Rochester too, with all of the voting and discussions politically of what's happening over there?
Yeah, it's I think it's everywhere. And it the biggest thing on the ballot in New York, we had a proposition for the Adirondack Park, to allow some development in the Adirondack Park for ski trails around Mount Van Hovenberg and things. And as part of that, though, they would make about 2,500 acres natural or forever wild. So it's kind of a trade-off. And some of it is due because some work had already started. So
Yeah.
that was the biggest proposition on the ballot in New York, and just the local elections and things going on. So we'll see where we are when all the votes are counted.
Listen, of course, we're going to talk about what the great things that you guys are up to and what you're doing. But I'd be remiss if I didn't just say, and I just want to put this message out on the airways this morning. I was having a conversation with a friend just a few days ago. He was working on my truck and told me that he has lost a friend over some political differences that have been expressed on social media between the two. And I'm like, man, it's like, how unfortunate, how divided we are. I have friends who are on the total opposite end of the political spectrum than I am, but we're still friends. At the end of the day, man, it's like if you don't share my belief system, is that really grounds for terminating a friendship, man? It's like, is there not more to life? This is so many of these discussions and decisions that involve politics, that involve taxes. And I know, man, it's like there's a lot of stuff going on right now. Everybody's worked up. The government's still shut down, a historical event. And people are just getting like it's become personal now. If you don't share my belief system, you're hurting me. You're damaging me and my family. I mean, this is the temperature.
Yeah.
The temperature's red hot. You know that.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that in the circle work that we do, it's one of the things we focus on is the power of circle is listening to each other and listening to each other's thoughts and ideas and experiences to understand each other, because we're all human, we all deserve dignity, and we can have different opinions, and that's okay. And that we learn from each other. And there's times I've learned from people, and my opinion on some things may have shifted because of those conversations.
If you're
But
just, yeah, go ahead.
And it's just, we all have different experiences that lead to the perspectives that we have.
Yeah.
And when we understand, just because somebody has a different perspective doesn't mean they're right or wrong. It's just different. And that's, to me, the beauty of our system of government, is to enable those conversations about different perspectives to take place. And that's one of the things I think we need to get back to, is having some of those substantive conversations about our, whatever the topic is, whether it's healthcare or anything else. Um,
Sure.
so
You know what we all need is, we need, not necessarily, some of us need more friends. Some of us need maybe fewer friends, but better friends. We just need to be able to come together and have a conversation here, whether it's on social media or face to face. I mean, so many of us, we hide behind our keyboards, and we just
yeah.
need to just take a freaking deep breath here, man. You are, if you're just joining us, Winton Buddington is with Sweethearts and Heroes, which is the world's biggest, greatest student empowerment advocacy group organization in the world. You guys have infiltrated yourselves into so many different schools all around the country, mostly here in New England. Roots in Vermont. This started with Tom Murphy and Rick Yarish right here in Vermont, and it has spread immensely. It is so impressive now. There's a huge team of you. There's a huge staff of you, and you're all busy every day trying to make a difference in the world, and you're starting with young lives, elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, and saying, we may not be able to change the course of adults. Maybe we can, but the real answer lies with the foundation of our future, and it's getting children to be better versions of themselves, to learn. And you and I have had this discussion in the past. To learn, yes, you go to school to learn, but also outside of the classroom and inside the classroom. Just be a better person, have a different mindset, understand what bullying looks like, understand what it means to build character and have conviction and stand up for something when you know that something is not right. Stand up and defend others, stand up, defend yourselves, and just be better at who you are.
Yeah, and the schools that we're in, the students are just phenomenal. It's incredible watching students step into leadership roles. We have older students working with younger students in our Brave program, and it's just an incredible experience for both sets of students. And we've got a couple, talking about coming together, and we need to come together to have some conversations. We've got a couple events coming up where your listeners can come together, and they can meet Rick Yarish. Our Chevy sponsors have done a great job supporting us in schools this year, and if I can plug a couple events on this Friday, November 7th, up in Burlington at Kia Burlington. Rick's going to be doing a meet and greet and giving away some of his books from starting at 3:30. And then on Veterans Day, November 11th, he's going to be at Alderman Chevrolet in Rutland, Vermont, from 1 to 5. And it'd be a great time for folks to come out, see Rick, get a copy of his book, A Bridge Named Amos, and help celebrate a veteran that has just done incredible work for our country, and now talking to over 1 million students in our schools.
Over 1 million students, Winton. That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk it? And then Monday, the 10th, what's happening over in Danville?
Monday, the 10th, Tom and Rick are presenting in Danville. And
I think it's Littleton Chevrolet that's backing that one
Little,
up.
Littleton Chevrolet is back in that one. Yep.
So they're going to be in the elementary school there.
They're going to be actually middle school, high school.
Okay, man, I'm hoping.
Oh, three through 6. Yeah. So yeah, we get everybody.
I am
K-12. We'll get it there.
I am so hoping to be able to catch one of these, maybe Friday in Burlington, meeting up with Rick. Such a great guy. Tom and Rick are both in Plattsburgh today. Mariah, New York later. I think you were saying
they're in Mariah today. Tom was in Plattsburgh yesterday doing a circle training, and then they're going to be in South Colonnade, New York, at Lashakill Middle School tomorrow. So they've got a busy week, and then over the weekend, Tom is working with the linemen again. So he's not getting much rest. So
what a conversation that we've had lately about that and mental health. And the thing about you guys is you do go up 40,000 feet, but you really take your time getting down into the roots of things, and that is so impressive. Not every organization can do that. A lot of them just like to hang up, up top and just kind of stay generic. You guys really, really get your fingers into it, and I know that's just kind of part of Tom's personality. That's just who he is. He's like, we're getting to nuts and bolts here, man. We're getting into it.
Well, and it really, as we get into it, it's a few people can really make a huge difference, whether it's for a school, whether it's for an organization like the linemen. You get a few students that have a little bit of training, a little bit of experience with us, and have the empowerment. They can really change and shape the culture positively for their school.
Yeah.
And that's really it takes getting down to digging in to do that. You can't just do it with a single presentation. That affects the individual. You make some individual changes. Students hear Rick's story and it really changes their perspective about their own problems and challenges. But that's an individual change. To really change the culture is when we empower students through the circle work and the other programs that we have to really start to take control of their school climate and culture.
Rick's going to be in here next Wednesday. I believe in the studio. He may be remote. Not sure where he's going to be.
I think he's going to be in the studio because he's coming.
Awesome.
He's at Alderman Chevrolet in Rutland on Tuesday, and then he's back in the Albany area at Academy of the Holy Names on Thursday. So I think he's planning to come into the studio.
Rick Yarish, a veteran who almost died in Iraq when his Bradley was blown up, a roadside bomb, and he was his whole body was covered in diesel fuel and burned alive. And for a very long time, it was questionable whether or not he was going to make it. His whole body has been melted. His ears, his nose are gone. His fingers, but he survived, and he's, his message has always been, man, physically I was damaged, but I still have my heart, my soul, my passion, not only to love, but to be loved and to persevere regardless of what challenges lie ahead of us. And man, if you think that the shit is not going to hit the fan in your life, you're wrong, because it's going to. And if it hasn't already, and if it has already, it's going to again. And you have to expect this, and it's how to have the right mindset to know ahead of
Yeah.
time that you're going to be okay.
And that part of that mindset that we talk to students and people about is what hope stands for us, which is hold on, possibilities exist.
There it is.
And that is so even in my own life as I've faced challenges and things, I don't know what tomorrow is,
Sure.
and tomorrow, but there are possibilities that exist in the future. I when I was a middle school principal for 14 years and decided to retire. I didn't have a plan to work with Sweethearts and Heroes. That was something that just it was a possibility that happened
Yeah.
after I had retired.
Wow.
And so, and when Tom called me up, I jumped at the chance because I had worked with him for about 7 years in my building and saw the impact on our climate and culture. But it wasn't something when I made the decision to retire, it wasn't like I was retiring to work with Sweethearts and Heroes. So there are possibilities out there in the future that we don't know what's going to align for us. Um,
Right.
and we just have to know that those possibilities exist.
Tom says that you were a middle school principal for the length of 14 years, which is crazy, and that's mostly the reason why you've lost all your hair, because you were just pulling it out by the clumpful. Is that true?
Now, I tend to run hot, so keeping the hair short is much more cooling for the. I know it's time to get my hair cut when I start getting a little warm. The
Well,
hair gets too long.
listen, one of Tom's techniques with Sweethearts and Heroes has been, as you were just saying a little while ago, to bring students and faculty together and to sit down in a circle, which you don't even have to say another word. So many of us just hear that alone and we're like, whoa, I do not want to do that. I don't want to sit down and talk, and I definitely don't want to sit down in a circle where we can all see each other.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to talk? Do you get that?
Yeah. And one of our guidelines for Circle is we need good listeners. You don't have to talk. You can pass. You don't have to respond to the question. And Circle's not a dialogue. We have a talking piece. It goes in one direction around the circle. So if somebody says something, there's not a back and forth. It goes around. Talking piece can go around again if you want to comment on something somebody else said, but that process is designed to have people listen to what other people are saying and to think about what other people are saying. And in Circle, you go through a lot of self-regulated thinking. You're listening, you have a question, you're thinking about what you want to say, and you're thinking about how comfortable you are, how vulnerable you're willing to make yourself to share that information with this group. So part of what we do in our Circle practice is we do activators before we sit down to Circle. And the activators are activities that just get people moving, have them connecting, and start having them be a little bit vulnerable. When you're having fun or laughing or making an awkward movement, you start making yourself a little bit vulnerable. And then when you sit down in Circle, you're already at a place where you're a little bit more open to have some of that conversation and sharing.
Is this the wonder questioning technique that I've heard you guys talk about?
Well, our wonder questioning technique is built off of the question formulation technique research. And what it leads us, what we found is as we sat down in Circle and started doing circles, we were coming up with questions. And as we were coming up with questions, we realized we were kind of going through a process for that. And we said, well, as schools, we worked with schools and trained teachers to run Circle. They started working with kids on coming up with questions. And the two kind of merged together for us in our wonder question technique, which is just expanding kids' thinking, expanding people's thinking to just wonder and come up with thoughts and questions about a topic, an object, or something. So I know in your studio, you've got a beautiful red couch and it's got some ornate woodwork around it. So the idea, like the wonder questioning technique, if that couch was what we were talking about, would be we'd start by just brainstorming as wonderstorming questions about the couch. You know,
Ah,
who carved it? Who sat on it? What stories can it tell? All those kind of questions. And then we filter those down to say which questions really interest us. Why did I ask that question? Why might I be curious about who carved all of that wood on the couch? Maybe that's something that I'm interested in. Maybe I whittle,
yeah.
and that's why I would think of that question. And then it narrows down further to get to the apex questions about which questions are kind of those quick answer questions versus a broader question, and which questions really connect with the human experience across multiple people. And you get down to a question where, you know, what's the role of a couch?
Yeah.
Could be a circle question. And
This
so it really takes kids through that process and helps them develop questions for their own circles.
it's a portal really
Yep. Yep.
into some of these open questions. And I I experienced circle one time with Tom and a bunch of students up at Peru High School. And I was fascinated because the direction of the subject, of the conversations, of the thought processes are changing constantly. And
Mhm.
it's the furthest thing from boring. It's absolutely fascinating. And for someone like Tom and I both, who are naturally inquisitive people,
Yep.
we have a lot of questions. We have a lot of follow-up questions. That's what I do for a living. Was extremely difficult for me to sit and keep my mouth shut. And I didn't
Yep.
really understand the rules that when it's your turn to speak, it's your turn to speak. And if you're not speaking, you're listening.
Yep.
Which is very hard to do. And it's very hard to do right now. It's hard to do at home with our husband and wife and children, but it's also difficult to do with our neighbors, our friends, folks that might be strangers that are on social media who have vastly different political views and opinions about what is right and what is wrong and what's going to hurt us and what's going to be better for us. Wow, is it difficult to listen, Winton? Holy crap.
Yeah. And, we talk in our circle training about, when do we teach kids to listen besides just saying, hey, listen to me, you know? And some of our best teachers where we're teaching kids to listen are in our music programs because they're teaching the clarinets to listen to the saxophones. They're teaching, when you come in, are you on the same pitch as somebody else? And they're explaining what they should be listening for. One of the techniques that Tom talks about in our circle training for listening is in your head, as someone else is talking, repeat the words that they're saying.
Yeah.
And you'll find that you can't think, because there's so oftentimes we're thinking of a response. We're thinking there's so many things running through our head. We're not really focused and present fully with the person. But if you're repeating what they're saying in your head as they're saying it, you'll be much more focused.
The thing about circle, that one experience that I had up at Peru High School with those students that was really difficult for me is I live with a pen and a piece of paper close by all the time. It's next to my bed. where I sleep. It's in my car. It's here in the studio. It's everywhere I go. I've got a pad of paper and a pen, several pens, in case one runs out of ink. And that's happened to me before, and it sends me into an absolute panic. But I didn't know what I was getting into. When I sat down in that circle in Peru, my pad of paper and my pen were on a desk about 30 feet behind me. And I wanted to take notes on everything that I was hearing, everything that I was listening to. It's not easy, man. It's not easy.
It takes practice. Circle
Ooh,
it's circle is a practice, and that's part of the the more you do circle, the the more you it the easier it becomes
yeah.
to follow that and be in that environment, and the more your connections you're making while you're there.
And the students need to. There's a difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is biological. My wife keeps telling me that I have a huge hearing problem. Um, but a listening issue is, in my opinion, so much worse. Students need to listen to their teachers. They need to think not just about what their teachers are saying, but why they're saying it. That maybe there's a greater reason. Maybe they're not just picking on you or bugging you, but maybe they have good reason behind it. But the adults, man, it's like the teachers, the administrators, they need to listen to the students too. That often
Mm-hmm.
there's a much bigger picture. There's something underlying that's not in the forefront. That's being covered up. That's huge.
Yeah, and it's for everybody. As a principal, I really worked hard to listen to the my teachers, and
And read between the lines.
yeah, and we also talk about behavior as a form of communication, and it's it's the nonverbal form, right? So there's something going on, and to figure that out, we need to listen and understand. If somebody says, no, I don't want to do that, let's figure out what's behind that. And they might have a very valid reason why they shouldn't do that, or why that shouldn't happen in a school, or whatever. And if we're not listening, we don't understand that perspective and that reason, and we're just moving forward with that kind of compliance authoritarian position.
One of the amazing things about Tom and what you guys have done with part of your circle training, which I know is just one stem of what you guys do, Sweethearts and Heroes in schools. But when you're bringing people into a circle that certain faces would never be sitting in the same circle with each other and looking
Mm-hmm.
across at each other for lots of different reasons. Maybe they just flat out don't like each other. Maybe one's a geek, maybe one's a jock, whoever, whatever. Emo,
Yeah,
which
and
my kid is still teaching me about, but it gets people to like get be uncomfortable for a little bit, for a little while. Usually that kind of goes away soon, though.
well, kids realize things that they haven't thought about. So if we've got the Thanksgiving holiday coming up, if you're in circle and you're talking about what's a tradition, something your family does at holiday time, whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever, and two or three of those students you're talking about talk about something at grandma and grandpa's house, and they may never have really consciously thought about that person that they don't like has a grandma and grandpa too, and that they have a tradition, and maybe the tradition is the same. Maybe
Yeah.
they do the same thing or have the same, you know and then all of a sudden their perspective about that person shifts just a little bit. It not doesn't mean they're going to become best friends automatically, but there's a little bit more of a connection there that, hey, this person isn't that different from me than I thought they were.
Sure. And not only that, but when the circle um, splits up and we go about our days, in the days and the weeks that follow, that one student who sees another student passing in the hallway will know something about that person reciprocal that they never knew, and maybe think of them in a different way, or maybe even if they're not associated in several different ways, but at least get eye contact and nod ahead, fist bump, whatever, some kind of connection.
Yeah, and even if they see that person looking a little glum one day,
Right.
they might say, "Hey, how you doing?" Because they've got that connection, and that can make the world of difference for that student.
Yeah. So true. I want you to explain to folks a little bit in closing this morning what it is that you do with Sweethearts and Heroes. Maybe a little explanation of what Sweethearts and Heroes is and how schools can get involved. I mean, we're going to be Danville on Monday, which you guys have been to in the past. You've been to my daughter's school here in Vermont. You've been to so many different schools. But a little bit about who you are, what you do for Sweethearts and Heroes.
So we're a student empathy empowerment group organization is how I describe it. We bring our message of hope, empathy, empowerment, and bystander activation to schools and to students and staff. And we do that through our presentations, our circle work. We've got a Brave program that older kids are working with younger kids. We've got a STEP program where we're training high school students to deliver our K2 and 3-5 presentations. We do circle training for teachers and students. We have a community ambassador program where we have one of our staff in a school on a regular basis helping with this work, very frequent, whether weekly or every other week, monthly throughout the year. We have 3 leadership classes for high school that embed this work in a sustainable model for high school leadership courses, so that after school works with us for a period of time, they can continue this work without us. And our website is sweetheartsandheroes.com. And if you go on the website, you can see all the information. There's a contact form on there if you're interested in having us come in or want to talk to us about the programs and services we offer. Fill out the form, and that's part of my job is to get in touch and follow up. Or Tom will follow up with a school that submits a form, and then I'll follow up and we talk about more in depth of the programs. And then the other part of my role is to help schools with what does that look like? What's that implementation plan? And we have our Hope Classroom online resources on the Thrively platform, which is a strength-based social emotional platform that really helps with continuing the work. Once we're not there, we come in for a presentation. We know there's voltage drop. We know that was a great presentation. Everybody's excited, but when you get back to your regular routine, how do you keep that message going? That's where our Hope Classroom resources come in with our lessons and activities online that are the anticipatory set that leads into classroom conversations as well. So that whole package is what really we help schools with. And that's part of my job right now is I'm the director of outreach and logistics is my title, and it's to help people figure out what we have to offer and how we can integrate it with what they have going on in their school.
I always love to ask this question. What do you say to a parent or a teacher, an administrator, anywhere that's listening this morning that hasn't yet discovered Sweethearts and Heroes, and they haven't had them in the school yet?
Let's talk is what I say. Let's figure out how we can work with you and what your school climate and culture needs and how we can help support that. There's no harm in a conversation, and we're already booked up getting booked up through February now. So our calendar's getting pretty full for this year. So as we have conversations starting now, we may be talking more about next year, and
Wow.
it takes a little while to locate financial resources and things for programs and services that we offer and through grants and things. So we're happy to work with people on that aspect as well. So
Wow.
what I would say is let's have a conversation.
Give our listeners to close up this morning, Winton, give our listeners a heads up on what to expect next Wednesday when Rick Yarish comes in here.
Oh, tune in. I mean, Rick, I love just talking with Rick. He's funny. He's entertaining and incredible personality and just so inspiring with everything he's been through and the effort he's put in and everything he's overcome to be a husband, a father, and a motivational speaker. He works with Tunnels to Towers, just so many things that he does that um, he, he is one of my heroes, and just your audience is going to enjoy and be inspired by a great man.
Yeah. Understatement. He really is something else, man. I can't wait. Winton, man, you bring the goods every time. I absolutely love Wednesdays, and I love having you guys on here. You bring so much positivity to my airwaves and to the ears of my listeners, my followers here at Aired Out. And I cannot thank you guys enough.
Well, we appreciate it, and while we're the work we do for schools, we know that the messages and the things we're talking about, like hope standing for hold on possibilities exist, are good for everybody to hear, adults as well. And we appreciate the opportunity to talk with you and share that our messages with your listeners.
Thank you so much, my brother. Have a fantastic rest of your day, bud.
You too.
Winton Buddington, Sweethearts and Heroes, here live this morning. The rest of my day is, well, it's going to be an interesting one. I'll tell you that. But I hope that some of what Winton was saying this morning will resonate with you throughout the rest of your day and the rest of your week and maybe beyond. Again, hop on sweetheartsandheroes.com. Today I'm going to be heading over to Optical Expressions. I'm wearing my Optical Expressions studio glasses so that I can see what the hell's going on right now. Will put these together. He made these for me, and they're wonderful. But they've got some deals going on right now in the month of November that I'm probably going to be taking them up on. Maybe some progressive lenses. It's very difficult for me to say bifocal. I cannot say bifocals. I won't say bifocals because if I do, then I sound like an old man. So I'm not going to say the word bifocal. I'll say progressive lenses. But anyway, I'll be over there at some point soon today having a look at some of the different. They got frames right now for $99 a month in November. If you haven't been over to Optical Expressions, I also need to book an eye exam. You need to get over there Monday through Friday, 8 to 6, in their new location, the 4th floor of the Blanchard Block in Barrie. I say new location because they've been up at the Berlin Mall for a million years, but they've also been at the Blanchard Block now for quite a while. So if you haven't yet explored, hop in the elevator, press floor 4, and the doors open, and you're right there in front of Optical Expressions. 223-2090 to set up an exam today. One of our presenting sponsors who we love so much. Eyesight. Talk about something that so many of us, if not all of us, take for granted. Right there. So you may see a new pair of specs on this old fella at some point. I don't know. Once again, River and Center Street closed between George Street and Frattini Place this morning. They've got traffic detours set up. River Street and Center Street closed between George Street and Frattini Place. Keep that in mind today on your travels. What's happening with the results of our local voting yesterday? We should get a better picture here very soon. I know the bond vote on the Central Vermont Career Center, we should have some results by Thursday. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done and some patience that we need to exercise in the meanwhile. So we'll be watching, we'll be listening, we'll be paying attention, not only to that proposal of a new career center, but also the new city garage and the housing project on Seminary Street here in Barrie. Paying attention, watching, listening, and yes, I will be in touch with Nicholas Storelli-Castro, our city manager, to get some more information. Okay, listen, please, deep breath today. Stay well. Take good care of yourself. Tomorrow, I know Bob Ross was in here last Thursday, causing a lot of problems. Tomorrow, G wants to do something that I'm not fully in support of. Frankly, a little nervous about. But we're going to have some fun. And hopefully, if we don't make you laugh tomorrow, if we don't make you laugh on Thursdays, maybe we can at least bring an internal smile to your soul, or make you close your eyes and say, what a couple of jerks. That's our goal. We love Thursdays. We hope you do too. It's coming tomorrow. I can hardly wait, even though I'm slightly nervous. Have a fantastic rest of your day, everybody, all right? Take good care. Be kind. We'll get through the rest of this week together. Thanks for tuning in.